Hello my darlings, hello, and welcome to another BanksyStyle quickie. We are live, or at least we certainly hope we are. Let's hope that we are live. I don't know, I honestly don't know, and at this point I don't care, but we are live. Okay guys, what do we got for you today, boys and girls? Hope you're all well, hope you're all having a wonderfully spiffing new Wednesday. Okay, we are going to start with this little clip and then move on. Whoops, I take it back. We're not gonna do that because we haven't prepared. As always, things are rush, and I don't have the right settings to have you guys listen properly. Okay, now we do. Now we can play.
Honourable member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad, and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again.
Yeah, that was funny because I could hear him crystal clear. It wasn't any more clearer than what he said. It was absolutely crystal clear. Funny how they were unable to hear him. I could hear him fine.
The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member is promoting open disinformation. That's not debate. We have to call it disinformation.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to initially bring to your attention. Well, that was just an example of recent times where we know that there are members of cabinet of Trudeau and many other leaders around the world who are in fact part of the World Economic Forum. I mean, the lady, I think it's the Homeland, I don't know, the Home Secretary or whatever of Trudeau, who is, you know, she was literally working for the World Economic Forum, and then she came and she became, I think, you know, I don't know, Secretary of State or something, or a Minister of the Homeland for Canada, and the reason I do this is because of this. I'm already 3 minutes in. This is what they're talking about. They're talking about Homeland Security should get more involved with misinformation. Summary of and actually classified as a terrorist act. Summary of terrorism threats to the U.S. homeland, and yeah, that's what they want. They want Homeland Security to actually start to investigate people supposedly accused of misinformation as terrorism. And the next clip I have, there is, and by the way, I wholesale stole all of this from what's his name? Damn it, what is that man's name? Russell Brand's video that he did on similar sort of thing. Of course, he has nearly a million views on that alone. I have less. But anyway, I'm still going to do it because it still makes sense, because this subject, I mean, it doesn't matter what you think about Russell Brand's politics. He is as lefty as they can be. He's a hippie fucking Jesus. But nevertheless, the truth is the truth. They say you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And I believe that someone like Brand and others, Bill Maher for example, are beginning to realize that. They're beginning to recognize that this leftist agenda and these morons with their pronouns are actually slowly destroying their own nations, the nations that these individuals live in. So now that you start to see some pushbacks, Bill Maher's doing some pushbacks, Russell Brand is. So I just want to read out some of these headlines or some of these columns that he's clipped from, and I clipped from his video. And this is how Truth Out, I guess is where they got it from. There is not so subtle push happening right now to increase the Department of Homeland Security's role in combating misinformation. That's what they want. They want, as I say, criminalize supposedly misinformation. Of course, this is Orwellian for just simply criminalizing speech. This is what these leftists revel in, because they're all authoritarians at heart. I mean, they may not be religious or they're just authoritarians. They always it's funny how this is what Orwell said. He said in the future the fascists will call themselves anti-fascists. Here we are. We're in Orwell's fucking nightmare. I always say there's two worlds that are going to emerge in the future. Either it's going to be a George Orwell future or a Gene Roddenberry. I hope for a Gene Roddenberry. I'm pretty much convinced that we're going to get a George Orwell. Certainly for our lifetime. Okay, so misinformation. So combating misinformation. The White House has begun an extraordinary assault on free speech in America. It is no longer content merely to force social media companies to suppress dissenting views. It appears to be setting the stage to use federal police powers, because they realize the internet doesn't belong to Google. The internet doesn't belong to Facebook and Twitter. That's what I've been saying for years now. The internet is far bigger than the Googles and the the Twitters and the Facebooks of the world. They are far bigger than that, and so they can't control the internet. Now, through your mobile device, because it's either an Android or an Apple these days, they can partially control the apps you can use, because they control the device and the OS on the device, even though with Android you can install whatever you want. But I'm sure that will stop soon. They will adopt for security, for protecting the children's cases, they will adopt a more Apple style, where if you have to pretty much jailbreak the phone in order to be able to use apps that are not on their store. I bet you that is coming next. Android's devices will have a feature in which you no longer can use apps that are not on their Play Store or their store, their App Store. Same as Apple. Apple's already did it. Apple did it from day one, but Android or Google tried to be more free. So that's coming. Be prepared for that. So look to alternative operating systems for your phone, I would suggest, possibly Linux. Anyway, so yeah, since the powers that be, especially the authoritarian leftist powers of the governments, have realized if you just ban them off Twitter, if you just ban them off Facebook, they're not going to go away. These people will find other platforms, and other platforms are emerging, and it's actually a golden era, I think, for alternative platforms for free speech. Hence why I promote places like Speaker's Corner Online, Odyssey, GetUp, Rumble. All of these places, go to them, because they are better places. They're actually more fun. They're actually the places where fun is fun and interesting conversations are taking place. So they know they can't control the platforms, because they can't control the people's speech through controlling the platforms, because the people are moving on to other platforms and they're getting they're finding their voice again. So they're now coming down on a federal level. Effectively, they're trying to make the wrong speech illegal, not what platform you're using it on, but what speech you're using. This is what Britain is as well, the Online Harms Act. That is exactly what's coming down the pipeline in the Online Harms Act, that they're trying to protect you. It's just protecting you. The government's just trying to protect you. It's always about security. Those who give up a little bit of security a bit of their freedom for a bit of security shall surely lose both and deserve none. Always remember that. So yeah, it listed unsubstantiated claims. It listed unsubstantiated claims about COVID and election fraud as the two main sources of misinformation. This bulletin marks an extraordinary escalation of the war on speech and the First Amendment. These public statements are not merely wallpaper. They can reflect secret government decisions about what police or intelligence tactics. Oh, some asshole outside. What police or intelligence tactics are acceptable against targeted groups. This is not a conspiracy theory. In 2017, Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, Director Mike Pompeo publicly called WikiLeaks a non-state hostile intelligence service. What happened to WikiLeaks, I wonder? Or the founder of WikiLeaks. As Yahoo News reported, 3 years later, more than just a provocative talking point, designation opened the door for agency operatives to take far more aggressive actions, treating the organization as it does adversary spy services. So basically, they turned WikiLeaks into a spy service, or they smeared them with as if they're a spy agency for the Russians, of course, even though they actually revealed shit about Russia too. Anyway, federal law enforcement has begun waging a public relations fight against strong encryption, which protects digital communication from outside surveillance for years. So any strong, like for example, don't use WhatsApp, use Signal. Signal has good strong encryption, and they don't give any data to these federal agencies. But of course, nobody listens. Everybody's still on fucking WhatsApp. But yeah, WhatsApp, they give all your WhatsApp messages to federal agencies. Just know that the next time you send a dick pic. The Obama years provide an example of the dangers posed by using local and federal law enforcement to supposedly combat what are ultimately political issues. When Obama and his team came into office, they were determined to leave the rhetoric of the global war on terror behind. However, that does not mean they left behind its substance or surveillance tactics. Now, by the way, remember this this phrase that came into the lexicon: words are violence. I don't know if you guys have come across this, but if you talk to any lefties and trans people and stuff, they always talk about, war is words of violence. Words can hurt people. That you want to enact death upon me, or somehow bring about some kind of murderous action towards a person because you use certain words they don't like, or certain comments that they don't like. So yeah, words are violence was the initial entry into this, and now they're going to take that and make it words are terrorism if you use the wrong words. And government contractors shoehorned the phrase into many proposals because it's where the money was. So they took away the sort of war on terror, but they still kept all the policies and everything, and they tried to shoehorn the phrases wherever it was convenient in order to bring in a few quid. Where are we? And government contractors, yep, shoehorned As a result, a cottage industry of CVE providers sprang up, working in a public-private partnership with the FBI and DHS. On the surface, this approach was a break from the doctrine surveillance of Muslims. Draconian was a break from the draconian surveillance of Muslim communities that was ubiquitous under George W. Bush from many Muslims. However, there was far more continuity than disruption between the two approaches. Under CVE, rather than fearing a new member of the mosque might be an informant, the local leaders themselves, including imams, teachers, and counselors, and by the way, in this country they call it prevent, counselors were tasked with the surveillance, with surveilling their communities and reporting so-called suspicious activity. The result of generalized monitoring, whether conducted by the government or by community partners, listen to the Orwellian speech there, community partners, not snitches, not your mullah snitching on you or keeping an eye on you. And in all honesty, though, with the Muslim community, with their terrorism act and their the people that the imams that they bring in order to encourage or flame the fans of terrorism, it's hard to say what you can do, what you can actually do in order to monitor or maintain or keep an eye on shit like that, because we've seen plenty of acts of terror in Europe, and the Prevent program is essentially this same program as this. Climate of fear, self-censorship, where people must watch what they say and with whom they speak. Now, the problem is this. They bring in terrorism. They tell you we're doing this because we want to prevent terrorism. But when they're curtailing your speech, when they're still, I mean, it may be the Muslim community that's their speech is being curtailed, or they're being monitored and spied upon of what they say. And you might say, okay, that's fine. It's the Muslim community. They're all a bunch of crazy terrorists. We can't trust them. But eventually these same laws are now being used. Now they're calling it misinformation, and they're coming to you. This is why holding the line when it comes to free speech is so important, in spite your own even security. Even if it threatens your security, or if it doesn't give you the secure, fluffy world that you want, holding free speech as the highest standard is absolutely paramount. Because when they do it, there's an old saying, they came for the gypsies and I said nothing because I wasn't a gypsy. Then they came for the the Protestants or the Catholics, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Catholic. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to say anything. There's a classic saying in regards to this, and this is exactly how it is. They first came for the Muslims preachers and speech, and I didn't say anything because I thought the Muslims were crazy and they were all terrorists and they were all nuts. So I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Muslim. But then when they came for me, because they said they deemed me misinformer, misspeech, misinformation man, then there was no one left to speak out for me. So this is the problem. But the problem is, it's all very, very complicated. Anyway, least they be reported. Least this is for the. Yes, the result of generalizing monitoring, whether conducted by government or by community partners, is a climate of fear, self-censorship, where people must watch what they say and with whom they speak, lest they be reported for engaging in unlawful behavior, vaguely defined as suspicious. The ACLU wrote to Lisa Monaco, Obama's Homeland Security advisor, in 2014. So this is people advising in 2014. These programs relied either implicitly or explicitly on bogus radicalization theories that purported to be able to identify the early signs of violent urges or so-called terrorist ideologies. What they actually did was criminalize protected speech and association rights, and treat reasonable political opinions, such as harsh criticism of U.S. imperial policy in the greater Middle East, as precursors to precursors to indiscriminate violence. Sorry, I'm unable to read today. These theories adopt a conveyor belt metaphor, that conveyor belt metaphor, that sees a linear progression from radical political beliefs to increased religiosity to violence. This manufactured threat of imminent violence is then used to justify surveillance and targeting of targeting for investigation. So this is how they build up the case to tell you we have to monitor you because, well, initially because you might be a Muslim terrorist, now you might be a misinformer, you might be spreading COVID misinformation, vaccine hesitancy, you may be questioning election results. That's how it is, man. They came for the Muslims and you didn't say anything because you weren't a Muslim. Now they come for you and there's no one to say anything. That's how it works. Lack of public trust in government and media is a complicated phenomenon that needs to be seen in the context of neoliberal forms from the 1970s onwards. Anyway, the way to combat misinformation and lack of public trust is not by directing more surveillance and policy more surveillance and police towards the problem. It's by building trust in public institutions, by meeting people's material needs, or just being truthful, not being shown to be lying bastards over and over again. How about that for building trust in the public? Not forcing the police to arrest grannies for sitting in parks during bullshit lockdowns. Those are the things that build mistrust between the people and public services and police and the government. When you arrest little grannies sitting on a bench park for bullshit lockdowns, that's the kind of shit. You think you had problems with people distrusting the police and distrusting authority and the government before the COVID? You wait and see. You wait and see. Not a single what would be considered patriotic, police-loving individual in any of these liberal countries. I'm talking Canada, Britain, Germany, America. They despise the police now. I know people who are law-abiding, tax-paying, good old citizens who absolutely, wrap themselves in the British, the Union Jack, and they hate the police. They fucking hate you now, and they hate the government, and they don't trust anything the government says because of what you guys did to them over the COVID period, over the last 2 years. They hate you, and this isn't some hood hip-hop loving what's it called, drill rap listening gang member. This is your everyday run-of-the-mill, straight down the middle, tax-paying citizen, voting tax-paying citizen. They hate you. People like Atheist Steve hate you from Speaker's Corner. That's what you've done. You've become enemies. You become the enemies to people like Atheist Steve. If he hates the police now, what do you think the rest of them think of you? Anyway, the material needs. Oh yeah, no, that's it. That's the last slide. So yeah, they're gonna come for you guys. They're coming for us all. For any of us who actually think we have a voice right now, this very video that I'm making. Manny made another video earlier on today. By the way, this is the video that I showed of what Manny made earlier on today. This video actually goes much deeper into other things. This is the guy, the head of World Economic Forum, Schwauss. There's also the Majid Nawaz. He's got clips from the Majid Nawaz podcast. I'll be honest, I don't know how long this video is going to be left on YouTube. YouTube's going to be pretty crazy to take it down. And they're gonna come for him. They're gonna come for him. They've been coming for Manny's videos for a long time now. So go watch it now, if you can. Manny Cinder, it's just the Manny Cinder channel, or if you can actually copy it and upload it to other social media sources. I've already uploaded it to my Odyssey channel. I do give credit to Manny though for putting this video together. So yeah, go check it out. Watch it while you can on YouTube, and if you let's say if you don't get it there, you can still get it on my channel, on my Odyssey channel. It'll be there. I'm sure Manny will probably upload it back onto another alternative as well. So yeah, check those out. But either way, guys, I'm telling you, they're gonna come. Can you link Manny's video? Oh God. Okay, hold on. I'm posting it here now. You could just type Manny Cinder. How hard is that? Anyway, there you go. But yeah, watch out, man. Watch out. They first came for the Muslims, and you said nothing because you thought they were all terrorists anyway. So what the hell? If they're putting surveillance on the Muslims, I don't care. But they don't just stop there. Oh my God, this video's gone to 25 minutes. It's ridiculously long. Okay, thank you guys, and have yourself a wonderful day, evening, whatever. Peace.